Ladies and gentlemen, footy is back. Welcome back to Bluebaggers Edge. It is always a pleasure to have your company, and we are back for the first time heading into season 2025. And geez, doesn't it? It feels like everything is right in the world. Yes, we've had round zero officially, but that doesn't count. It's a crappy soft launch that makes a complete mockery, I think, out of the new season. And while they persist with it, who knows? It's the AFL. They do some really wacky things. But we are back, and the traditional season opener, which is what we'll continue to refer to it as, us v Richmond, is officially happening. It's been a rather long off-season, and we all know how 2024 finished, and we look towards a new season, as we always do, with renewed optimism. And of course, I'll be there, as I always am. Thanks as always as well for your patience in terms of content. You may have noticed that there's been a little bit of a lull in terms of uploads due to, a hectic personal life and other things take precedent. But we are back. I have been tracking the baggers across the preseason. I think the last video I uploaded, it might have been looking at Sauce and his switch to defense. Since then, I think I was looking to go to open training, and unfortunately I was unable to due to unforeseen circumstances. And apart from that, ended up going to the St Kilda unofficial practice game, which was interesting to see. It was the first sort of glance at the team in, I guess, having a proper hit out in a sense for 2025. So that was good to see. A few pleasing signs as well, which I'll get into in a moment with the preview with this game against Richmond. So with that, bit of a segue here. Let's start off with the expectations heading to this game. And I think that it's going to be a little bit of an interesting one, because I think expectations around the team, for the past few seasons have kind of been heightened and growing. And, I think that kind of comes off the back of, supporters like, ourselves, expectations around the improvement of the side, but also I think externally with the media as well, that they are tracking us sort of being in the premiership window, and we need to win games like this, obviously against lesser opponents, no disrespect, of course, like Richmond. And I think if we, just win simply by, 2-3 goals, the media, it's such a savage beast. They might actually be like, well, are Carlton the real deal? Have they actually, proved themselves against lesser opposition? Whereas I think unless we actually smash Richmond by like 50 plus points, only then will the media be like, oh, well, Carlton are the real deal, all that sort of stuff. But for me personally, going into this, I just virtually want to win. And I say that because I say it in the context of the more important side of things, which is something which we've, again, unfortunately had to taste across the preseason with regards to injuries. We know that Jagger unfortunately did his ACL heartbreakingly, and we've had a couple of other injuries as well, as we know with Charlie having a little bit of a setback, if you want to call it that. But we have had a little bit of optimism with the return of the likes of Sauce, and of course, Walshy has been announced as making his return for round one as well, which is good to see. But I think having said all that, I'm kind of alluding to what there is just injuries. We want to come out of this game unscathed, injury-free, not bruise-free. I mean, you want to go in and compete as hard as you can and not hold back. So, yeah, there's obviously that, but we don't want to be coming away with injuries, especially to our, best, starting 18 and wider than that, best 23, including the sub. So, I guess what I am expecting and what I'm hoping to see is, something that I'm going to be looking at very, very closely. And I spoke about it across the course of the back part of 2024 in my sort of post-match reviews and preview episodes as well. And that's with regards to, two big areas of our game that I think that we need to improve in. And, you can probably guess what it is. But, the first being our entries inside forward 50. And the next is our transition and how we use the ball exiting defense. And I will admit that, what I saw against the Saints in the unofficial practice match didn't really fill me with too much confidence. And it looked as though we were kind of adopting the same methodology of just bombing inside forward 50 aimlessly. And then even, kicking down the line, coming out of defense and being too vanilla and too one-dimensional, and didn't really fill me with too much confidence. But, things did look rosier against the Giants in the official practice match. So that was good to see. But really, for me, I want to see this implemented on a consistent basis in season. And, we saw it fleetingly during parts of 2024, but it was our undoing where we kind of got found out by the opposition and there was no plan B. There was no, alternative method to countering the opposition having found us out. And, I guess being in the right positions, knowing that we're going to kick into those areas. So it's a wait and see for me. And that's kind of the two areas that I'm looking at. And it's, for me, probably the best time to face someone like Richmond, or at least, a team that is on an entirely different spectrum to us in terms of they're in the developmental stage, they're rebuilding. And, for us, it allows us an opportunity to not flirt with form, but really try some things out as well. And play with a bit of dare. And it's that which we saw in the back part of 2024 when we did play with dare and, a bit of difference or point of difference compared to our vanilla, entries inside forward 50 and exits out of defensive 50, that we actually look good. So now's the chance and opportunity to really do that. So that's what I'm looking forward to with regards to structure and game plan. In terms of the teams, let's have a look at that. Let's flick across to the both sides here. And first and foremost, as you would have seen, no doubt, Lucas Camporelli gets his first crack at senior footy, has been named on the wing there, as you can see, and I'm ultra excited. And to be honest, it actually makes me feel really, really old because I remember sitting in the Gardner stand with my best mate and, watching his dad, Scott, running around up and down the wing. So it definitely makes me feel old. That's the first thing that I felt. But, obviously outside of that, it's that romanticism in seeing a Camporelli back in the navy blue. And from what we saw across the preseason, that game that I saw firsthand against St Kilda, some really promising signs. And then he took it up a notch again in the official practice game against the Giants and looked really, really good. I think it was like 20 disposals and, has the dash and I think speed that we are going to be missing with the, the injury to Jagger Smith, which is something that would have been a point of difference. And that injection of speed is something that I think we definitely need. Again, speaking about one-dimensional structures and one-dimensional players, I guess in a sense that you don't want too many one-pace players, which I think we've had across the journey, hence the reason why Carroll's kind of been moved on and Matt Kennedy and so on and so forth. So it's good to see that Lucas has those assets that the side needs. And further to that point as well, it's a role that I think has opened up due to the fact that Ollie Hollins is now being shifted back into defence. And by all reports, what we've seen across the preseason as well, and Doc himself has mentioned that he'll kind of be that Swiss Army knife, but primarily being played as more of that, inside midfielder. And that does allow a spot to open up for Lucas. So the world is his oyster, and hopefully he gets more than just one game at it, as we've seen in the past with, say, Jackson Binns, who got a quarter and a bit worth of a taste of senior footy and then wasn't seen again. So, or very sparingly after that. So, yeah, hopefully he gets more of a crack than just one game. But I think, again, just speaking to that, I think he's going to be playing a role that is going to be quite unique and a requirement in the side to be filled. So, looking forward to seeing him run out in the navy blue. Outside of that, obviously, Walshy does make his return from injury, as I spoke about earlier. He's another guy that I'm looking forward to, almost a new recruit in a sense. We just want to see him get through unscathed. He's, again, had another limited preseason. What's this, his third or fourth limited preseason in a row? And, it's super unfair, but, in those seasons that he's had setbacks and stuff, and he's kind of, a couple of seasons ago, he made his season debut in, what was it, round 3 or 4, might have been later than actually, and took a while for him to really regain match fitness and, with that form as well. So I'm not expecting him to really, set the world alight. And, he's another guy that I'm hoping can come away unscathed and, just get his hands in the pill, get some confidence in his own mindset. And, if he can come out firing, that would be an absolute dream. But got to kind of lower expectations with regards to him, given that he will be on limited sort of, guess match fitness in a sense, given that he hasn't had any exposure to that outside of, your little intra clubs and everything else as well at training. And then, of course, we have the newbies in the form of Nick Haynes and, interestingly enough, Frank the Tank, Francis Evans. On Nicky Haynes, first up, I am so amped for what he can provide to our defence. We got a solid glimpse of that in the preseason. He gave a little bit of scare to myself and obviously, likewise, all of you watching that saw the game, because he went down clutching his hamstring and he has had some soft tissue injuries across the journey. Again, knock on wood, but my mind immediately thought, oh, here we go, he's got an injury. But it was just a cramp, thankfully. But he looked really good. He's got that. Again, he doesn't have the speed off the mark as he would have back in the day when he was younger, but he's still got, his mind's as sharp as attack. He can read the play very, very well and get in the right positions to take intercept marks and so on and so forth. So he's going to be offering a lot to our team, I think. I guess just in tandem with the likes of, Silvani going back there, provides him with, takes a little bit of responsibility away from him, or expectation in a sense, because it's a new position virtually entirely that Jack's being asked to play. And, we've obviously got Nick Haynes that can swing into that position and provide some support as well. If Jack's finding himself out at sea, we can swing some things around. And obviously, if we need to shift Jack forward, we can always do that with, say, a Kempe, who I'll speak about in a moment as well. With regards to Frank the Tank Evans, I am a little bit surprised that he's been given a call up so soon. He's the sort of player that is more of a pressure forward. Look at his breakdown and stats across his career when he was at the Cats, when he was at Port. He's not renowned for being that, goal scorer. And it leaves me scratching my head, but also just because of the, structurally, we've already got our first choice pressure forward in the form of Fogarty. So I don't really know if we need a second player in that position. So I just don't know what the coaching staff's going for there. And as I said, he's not really known as someone that's going to come in and kick a bag of goals either. I know he kicked a goal against the Giants, but, having watched him when he was at Port, I don't remember too many games he played at the Cats, but again, he's more of a pressure forward. He averages across his career 0.65 goals a game. So he's definitely not renowned for goal kicking. And if it were up to me, I definitely would have brought in and much preferred to have seen Ashton Moyer come into the side ahead of Evans. And, he at least offers, I think, more of an attacking threat compared to Evans. And also as well, he's probably not going to be the same sort of pressure forward, because Moyer's not really renowned for that. He can kind of play as that mid-tier forward and, a bit of a Jack Martin type role, which I thought he would be groomed into from round one onwards. So the fact that he's not in the team, I'm a little bit disappointed with. We didn't really get too much of an insight into him across the preseason either, but, limited preparation, whatever it is. The coaching staff obviously don't see him as a best 23 player yet, which is totally fine. But I just think what we saw of him, and I know it was limited sample size in the back part of 2024, was promising. So I would have preferred to have seen him in the team, considering that we did need another forward. Presumably Orazio Fantasia. I know I've been someone that has been critiquing him, I will say, for lack of a better word, for 2024. And I do think that there were games that were gifted to him when he probably didn't deserve it. But to his credit, across the preseason, he actually has put in a fair bit of work and has been in some pretty good form. So presumably he would have made the round one side, but because he has sustained a niggle, Evans is taking his spot in the team. But again, I just don't think we need two pressure forwards that are just virtually, one-dimensional pressure forwards. I think Fogarty, that's his one wood, but also can push forward and, kick a goal if need be. And I think he's a much better pressure forward compared to Frankie Evans. But we'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and hopefully he can come out in his debut in the navy blue and prove me wrong and blow us away. Outside of that, obviously, Elijah, not in the team, would have heard in recent days. He is taking some time off to tackle some off-field, I won't say issues, but stuff we'll call it. I'm not going to comment on that and delve into that due to the number of rumours swirling around, but whatever it may be, what I will say is let's just hope that he can get things right and get back to playing footy and doing what he does best in the navy blue as soon as possible. So it is disappointing considering he ended up turning out to be a pretty integral part of the team. I think he was a really nice missing puzzle piece, I think, and playing sort of that high half forward role. Again, is Frankie Evans coming in to sort of fill that void a little bit as well? Maybe, but again, if that's the case, why haven't we given Ashton Moyer a bit of a crack? But we'll leave that those comments there. But looking forward to seeing, just with regards to talking about forwards, looking forward to seeing Kempy again playing up forward, especially helping fill the void now that Charlie is not playing, who has presumably been rested first up, and you can understand that. Kempy did play well against the Giants after being left out of the side that did face the Saints in that unofficial practice game. I think he played a full, I did stay behind and watch about a quarter and a bit. Kempy played the game in the VFL, and I'm assuming that they wanted to give him a full crack in the position up forward compared to if he was playing against the Saints, where there was sort of higher rotations, obviously bigger number of players to play through the team. That was kind of the thinking behind that, but kicked, 3 goals it might have been against the Giants and looked pretty good. So good to see him get some goals in his kit bag early on and give him a little bit of confidence heading into round 1. And then, of course, as I spoke about earlier, the return of Sauce in defence of all things, so channeling his old man. Hopefully he does roll out with the long sleeves. And again, will make me feel so old, considering that I was watching his dad and Scott Camperelli playing back in the day when I was a youngster. So I'm extremely excited to see what Jack can provide. I think he's excited as well from what I've read of his comments over the preseason. So it is going to be an exciting time with a couple of new faces, as I said, with the likes of Haynes, Frankie Evans, and the like as well. So, and returning faces, Walshy, Sauce, and a couple of newbies in Lucas Camperelli as well, complete newbies. So, as I said, looking forward to it. Expectations, not going to set things too high. Hopefully they come out and come out firing, breathing fire, all that sort of stuff, all the cliches, and we can come away with the win. But that's virtually it. That's the breakdown and bit of preview heading into round 1. Again, thank you so much for your support. Ever since I started this channel, which was sort of mid-season, would have been in 2024, and I have been blown away with the amount of support, comments, people getting involved, interacting with the discussions and everything else as well, which I do really enjoy. And that's kind of part of the reason why I started this channel, to have a bit of a discussion point with like-minded supporters that are just as passionate about the navy blue as well. So that's it, ladies and gents. Anything I've missed, let me know. Love to know your thoughts, as I just mentioned, down below in the comments section. What are your expectations heading to this game? What are your hopes? And outside of that, we'll catch you in the next one. Go Baggers.